All right, wonderful and welcome. It is 6:06 on December 15th. This is the Human Relations Commission December meeting. Tonight we have a interpretation service. If you would navigate to the bottom of your screen, you should see interpretation accompanied by a globe, or you may have to click more, as we just found out, to find interpretation. Click on interpretation and select the language that you would like to listen and participate in tonight's meeting in. Buenas noches a todos y bienvenidos. Es lunes, diciembre 15. Y esta es la reunión de la Comisión de Relaciones Humanos. Esta noche tenemos un servicio de interpretación. Para acceder al servicio, por favor, navegar al menú en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Haga clic en Interpretation, que está con un globo mundial, y va a ver inglés y español. Y estos son los dos idiomas que ofrecemos esta noche. Y puede escoger el idioma que quiere escuchar a esta reunión o participar en esta reunión. Gracias. And Carlos, I will pass it over to you and get my screen shared here.
Buenas noches a todos. Es el 15 de diciembre del 2025 y siendo las 6:08 damos inicio a nuestra reunión del día de hoy. Tenemos una agenda no muy grande. Yo creo que podemos acabar temprano hoy. Entonces, vamos a nuestro segundo punto, que es ajustes de la agenda. ¿Alguien tiene algún punto que quieran agregar o algo que quieran a nuestra agenda?
Yeah, so I have the work plan like draft that I just had to put together, and then me and Jorge worked a little bit on the letter to council, and so both of those would be good for us to review. Oh, I guess those are both in there.
Sí,
Sorry, I'm
ujú.
disregard.
We have those listed under action items tonight as the three agenda items that we have are listed under action items because they will require a vote. We're used to seeing traditionally things under discussion or informational items, but we have to vote on stuff tonight, so that is why it's listed there.
Great.
Bueno, entonces, no habiendo ajustes a la agenda, vamos a aprobar las minutas del mes pasado. Necesitamos una votación para aprobación de las minutas.
I vote to approve the minutes.
I second.
Yo apruebo.
Ok, podemos decir aye o levantar la mano. Perfecto, gracias. Entonces, nuestro cuarto punto es comentarios abiertos de la comunidad. ¿Tenemos algo, Cristian?
Yes, we do. It looks like we are joined by Nana/Mary. So before we jump in, I see you raising your hand there. Give me 1 second. I have a little prepared script to read off before we go through your public comment. Okay. So the city has engaged with community members to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports physical and emotional safety for community members, staff, and board and commission members, as well as democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspectives. For more information about this vision and the community engagement processes, please visit the website listed on your screen. The following are examples of rules of decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during this meeting. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to city business. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. Participants are required to sign up to speak using the name they are commonly known by, and individuals must display their whole name before being allowed to speak online. Currently, only audio testimony is permitted online. Okay. That being said, I am going to attempt, Mary, to allow you to speak as you are an audience member. I may have to promote you to panelist if this doesn't work. It has not in the past, so bear with me. Okay, I think you're off mute. Can you say something just to see?
Hola, amigos. Hello, friends.
Very good.
Hello, my name is Mary. I am your neighbor in North Boulder. I wrote to Christian over the weekend. I was inspired to write, and I'll explain why. I was surprised to find out that we have a Human Relations Commission in the city. And I have recently been a participant in the Elevate Boulder program. So I've had some contact with Elizabeth, and I live right across the street from Mayor Aaron, and some contact with him as well. And I sent you an email regarding 3 initiatives that I just wanted you to be aware of in case you aren't. One is the Dignity Index. The second one is Our Communities Listen. And the third one is Restoring Resourcefulness. Dignity Index is more on how we offer one another dignity as we communicate. Our Communities Listen. I provided, by the way, links in my email to you all for these things. It's more on the technical aspects of how we communicate with one another. And then Restoring Resourcefulness is intentionally designed to offer people opportunities to expand their awareness around a lot of somatic practices with how we relate to one another, which personally I feel is extremely important right now. And the reason I wanted to communicate this with you is because I saw that you're having conversations around difficult dialogues. And I'm going to be straight up, as I have been with Mayor Aaron. We're facing unprecedented times. And even though I believe that our first responders are prepared, I'm not clear that our community as a whole is prepared for what we're going to be diving into. I was in the State of the World Forum this afternoon, and oh my, things are accelerating so quickly, as I know many of you already know. So I have the vision of establishing safe spaces for our community to gather and have conversations in ways that are effective, but where people can feel and be seen and heard and feel safe about expressing like their fears or troubles or problems they're having with what's happening. And I'm not sure how to do that. I talked to Elizabeth about it at our final meeting in November. I'm not sure how to set that up. And I don't know what you all really do, to be honest, but you are the human resources folks. So I wanted to share that with you. And so please, I hope you'll read the email, and I hope that you'll find it informative in case you haven't heard of those entities and organizations. And just thank you all so much for your service. I really appreciate you all very much for what you do. It's really awesome. So that's it from me. Thank you so much. Thanks, Christian, for making this connection possible.
Awesome. Thanks so much for talking to us, Mary. I really appreciate your care on this issue. And yeah, I think it's something we're definitely in dialogue. We can share a little bit more of what we're looking at there. Wait, can we clarify where the email? Is that an email that was sent to you, Christian, that you can forward to us, or?
I did send through the.
Okay, I must have just missed it.
It would have gone through the human relations, like the HRC at boulder.gov.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
Christian forwarded it, and I made a minor edit and resent it along with a few more comments, just so you know. So you might have a double copy. Thank you.
Oh, wait, do I have this?
How,
No,
how do
actually,
we access that? Because I don't have it.
yeah, can you? Yeah, I don't see it, Christian. I'm not sure.
It should have already.
Yo tampoco lo tengo, Cristian. Si nos lo pueden reenviar otra vez,
Can do.
por favor, gracias. Gracias, Mary, por estar aquí. Y pues vamos a darle lectura a tu correo y vamos a hacer algún seguimiento. Y si necesitamos comunicarnos contigo, lo vamos a hacer en el futuro.
Thank you so much.
And feel free to stick around during the meeting. We'll be probably talking on some of those issues, and so there might be. Feel free to like listen in, and you'll hear a little bit of what we're looking at with difficult dialogues and some things as we work out our next year plan. So if you want to stick around and keep listening, then we'd love to have you.
Yes, thank you. I will. I'll stay tuned.
¿Alguien más gusta agregar algo? Jorge, Emily, Mindy.
No, leeremos el mail y con gusto colaboraremos. Somos vecinos, Mary, también. Carlos, todos vivimos en North Boulder,
Algunos, no todos, pero sí,
Digo, tú y yo y Aaron.
sí.
Yeah, just echoing, thank you, Mary, for coming, and thank you for bringing us those resources. And I'm excited to hear more about your thoughts around structuring dialogue, and however we can support you as the body. Looking forward to talking more about that in your own ventures. So thank you.
Thank you.
Perfecto, gracias. Entonces vamos a continuar con nuestra agenda de esta noche. Tenemos 3 puntos en este quinto. El primero es la nominación y elección del chair y co-chair, o del presidente y el vicepresidente de la comisión. Aquí vamos a nombrar, o alguno de ustedes quiere nombrar a alguien y se va a hacer votación para esto.
Yes, and I have some instructions written up as well that I pulled from the manual. This is in Chapter 3, Section B, Subsection 3, Nominations and Elections of Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson. So nominations are made orally. There's no second required. Nobody needs to second a nomination if somebody comes forward to nominate themselves or another. That is good enough as long as the person being nominated consents to the nomination. So I could say I want to nominate myself for chair. By nominating myself, I obviously consent to it, but if I nominated Carlos, for example, or somebody else, these are just examples. I cannot nominate anybody. That person has to agree to the nomination. Anybody can say, no, I would rather not, and that is okay. So Carlos will open up the nominations. Once those have been made, we will close the nominations, beginning with chair. Then we'll have a vote. The nominee receiving 3 or more votes is the person who will assume the function of chair or deputy chair. And once we've done chair, we will move on with the same process to deputy chair. Carlos will open the nominations. Once those have been made, we'll close that window, move right into a vote. Questions?
Are we allowed to ask who would like either of these positions, or is it just a nomination process?
I think you can certainly discuss amongst yourselves if there's curiosity who might be interested. Yeah.
I guess given the voluntary nature of this commission, I think everybody here would do a great job as chair and co-chair, and personally would love people who have the most energy and enthusiasm for the position to take the position. So I'm curious if anybody is particularly excited about filling one of these positions.
I'd be happy to play whatever leadership role the commission would like me to play.
Then I would like to nominate Aaron for chair.
I receive a consent to not being nominated. I'm also curious, Carlos, if you have any desire to play the role of chair.
La verdad, Aaron, me gustaría, pero yo quisiera que sea otra persona porque a mí ya nada más me queda un año y entonces me gustaría que otra persona se fuera fogueando en esta, posición. Y yo secundo la moción de Emily. ¿Alguien
Me too.
tiene alguna otra? Sí, Jorge.
Me too. Yo también, Carlos.
Cristian, son 3 votos.
Well, we don't have any more nominations, so sounds like we can close that portion and then go right into a vote. So Carlos, you can ask for a vote.
Sí, entonces los que estén de acuerdo en que Aaron sea el presidente de la comisión, digan ay o levanten su mano. Ok. Tenemos por decisión unánime nuestro presidente.
Oh, thank you all. That's really an honor. I really appreciate that. It's unexpected.
Carlos, I know that you said that you didn't want to be a chair because you're leaving, but I'm curious if you are interested in serving as deputy chairperson. Or Mindy or Jorge, if either of you feel excited about that position.
Yo creo que, Carlos, con lo que tú decías para foguear al nuevo presidente, creo que serías un buen apoyo para el nuevo presidente como co-chair. Eh, Esa es mi sugerencia.
And I just want to say it's not that I lack enthusiasm, but this is my first meeting. So I feel a little bit intimidated to take on a leadership role, not even having gone through really even a complete meeting yet. I would love for Carlos to take it on because he has that experience, but only if he wants it.
Cristian, dijiste que no podía ser nominado por segunda vez, ¿o sí se puede?
There's nothing, to my knowledge, nothing that would prevent somebody from being nominated a second time.
Entonces, está bien, yo puedo tomar esa posición si gustan.
Sounds like I hear a nomination for Carlos for deputy chair.
And nominate Carlos for deputy chair.
I nominate Carlos for deputy chair.
Okay. And now we get to take it to a vote.
Ready for a vote, Carlos.
Ok, entonces vi que ya levantaron algunas manos. Entonces, gracias por esta nominación y votación. Entonces, ya tenemos presidente y vicepresidente, Cristian.
Sí, señor, and congratulations to you both. I look forward to continuing to work with you both and supporting the commission. And thank you for accepting the nominations and assuming these roles.
Thank you.
All right.
Bueno, entonces, gracias por esto. Y vamos al segundo punto. Yo creo que hoy sigo yo con la reunión, Cristian, y la próxima ya se la pasamos a Aaron.
Yes.
Ok, perfecto. Nuestro segundo punto es trabajar en nuestro plan de trabajo. Aaron, dijiste que tenías algo que mencionar en este punto.
Yes. Can I share, Christian? Share my screen.
Yep, there you go.
Perfect. Cool. Can everyone see my screen? Yes?
Yes, we can.
Great. So here's kind of what I just drafted up, just trying to kind of like take some of what I heard in our last meeting and just turn it into like a simple little work plan. I'm sure we can add more structure if we want to, but I just wanted to like kind of emphasize a little bit of what I heard, which is that it seems like for a core purpose, something like a more connected Boulder where community members feel heard, supported, and able to participate, especially those who are most likely to be missed. And then I was like kind of breaking down what it seems like are the core focus areas, which was like bridging the vertical gaps, like people feeling more connected, community members feeling more connected to the city and like various institutions, like bridging those vertical gaps, which we were doing through like strengthening HRC's relationship with city, increasing community awareness of HRC and the Human Rights Ordinance, help community members understand how to engage with city resources, be more present at community events, continue supporting the claims process. So it's kind of like looking at that as like one place to focus. Second one was like more of the horizontal gaps. Seems like some of the work we're trying to do with like difficult dialogues, but it's like, how do we strengthen communities? It seems like one place we've been really talking about, especially with like Carlos's leadership, is like helping strengthen connection between like Latinx community and the broader Boulder community, and then difficult dialogues and just like creating spaces for people with different perspectives. This was kind of some of the stuff Mary's was speaking of, and it seems like that's kind of a lot of the work we're interested in. And then I heard a lot of like the supporting marginalized communities, taking care of our unhoused neighbors, raising awareness of community members struggling, connecting people to resources. And so I kind of like just put this up as a structure for us to work with, just to get a sense of like whether this makes sense of like, do these feel like three good focus areas that can capture the things that we care about? And do some of these activities feel like the kind of work that we want to be engaging in? So I'd love to just kind of like open the floor, see if this makes sense, see if there's any thoughts, if there's things we want to like add in here or slim down, or if there's things we want to just like change entirely. So open the floor.
I think Mary left, but just what she said, that she was not aware of, the existence of the HRC, and that uh, it was a surprise. It just supports the first point that we discussed, a week or so ago. So it makes all sense to me. Um, at least that first point, that's our biggest opportunity, I think. How do you create that awareness, and then we can better help community?
Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Erin, for organizing our thoughts. I feel curious. Some of these activities feel a little bit more like goals or objectives to me. Less of like, for example, strengthen HR relationship with city council through more active ongoing communication could look like a lot of different things. So I don't know if we want to have like goals or objectives and then activities, the activities being a little bit more like specific and actionable.
Great. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, so goals and objectives, maybe clarifying some goals and objectives within each of these, which helps us do that thing we were talking about of like having good metrics and like looking at like the surveys the cities do. And so kind of like using that to shape our goals and objectives around each of these, and then specifying some objectives. I think that's a great idea.
Great. Yeah, like an activity could be reviewing the community survey. That would be an actionable activity with the goal of understanding the baseline of community relations,
Mhm.
some, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
great.
And the idea of the survey actually helps the 3 points here. We can get a lot of insight for
Mhm.
all these 3 points.
Cool. Yeah. Carlos or Mindy, any thoughts?
I mean, I agree with what Emily said, that I think discerning between goals, objectives, and then action items to achieve those goals is good. I think, even if you look at the bottom bullet on the first section, activities continue supporting the claims process goal. So like, the measurable goal might be that you see an uptick in claims, from one year to the next. And I obviously wasn't at the retreat and the least well versed, but and then in activities, I would want to see what does, and this is like for our discussion, but what does supporting the claims process actually look like? Like, what is a specific thing we do that does that versus just broadly? So,
Right.
like, I think just going down more, I totally think this framework is great. And I know this is like kind of the hardest part, is just putting it out there. So, this is for us to do, but I just think like being as detailed as we can be on the action items will make it easier for us to actually achieve the goals we set for ourselves.
Great.
I guess I feel curious too from the commissioners, like how do we hold ourselves to this work plan? Like what does using this work plan look like on a meeting to meeting basis or between the meetings?
Can I ask a quick question then? Just again, you guys, I assume, have had work plans in the past? And is that a yes or no? Like I'm making this.
Less
Okay,
so for
not
mine and
okay.
Emily's tenure. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little bit more uncharted territory.
Yeah, like there's been a little bit and there have been work plans. Christian, I think Christian's about to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, um, it's a requirement that we have a work plan that sort of informs like what we're doing throughout the year and what we hope to achieve, how frequently that's been utilized, or how like um intently that's been utilized has varied sort of year over year. And I think the at least conversation that I'm hearing right now has been more robust about it than in years past. And so we're trying to approve one for this upcoming year, and I think stick to the plan where and when practicable.
So is it possible at some point we set some time parameters on, by first quarter, Q1, end of Q1, Q2, Q3, we want to have checked off 3 of the action items in each thing or whatever, something like that, that's very concrete.
Yeah, we talked about it in the previous meeting, uh, to follow up on the deliverables and actions based on the timing that we may place. And we also suggested to review this with the council, ideally every quarter, so we can properly communicate progress and ask for any support or anything we need. But we also thought that the council needs visibility on the work plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, part of how I'm relating to it is like this is just something that we can return to. So we can like regularly check in, maybe every month or yeah, maybe every quarter, and just be like, how are we doing? And does it feel like we're at least tending to each of these areas? And what are some activities? I'm very open to being more structured, like such as having like a specific measurable goal. Um, although, yeah, I question how much again, it's like we're a commission that meets once a month. And I don't think the expectation is that like each of us is going and taking a bunch of actions. I think we're like
Right.
our purpose is to kind of stay in discussion about this and like make sure we have good clarity and we're like connecting to the broader community and getting their perspectives to share with city council. And so to me, it's like it's a thing that we return to just to be like, how are we doing? And not just we as a commission, but we as a city. Like how are we doing on all this? And I think if we can return to that, then it's easier for us to like identify like where are the avenues that we can be effective of making sure our marginalized communities are well supported, making sure that like we're building bridges within our community, making sure that people are aware of like what's happening in government and they have access to resources. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
También hablamos de definir pocas grandes acciones y no tener muchas acciones que no podamos atacar, ¿no? Si no se hace demasiado, y se pierde, ¿no? Entonces, definir claramente, ¿no? Dentro de estos 3 puntos, cuáles son 1, 2, 3 acciones que realmente nos pueden asegurar entregar el resultado y no llenarnos de acciones.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I think, yeah, I'm seeing it as like this chiseling down. Like here's a little bit, and now we're like chiseling down to get to the essence of it. And it seems like probably trimming down a lot of these activities, getting like what are a few clear objectives for each of these, and what are some clear action items that we can be engaged in so that we can be like effective without overcomplicating our work.
And be realistic.
Yeah, and be realistic. 100%. No, I like that a lot. Cool. Carlos, any thoughts from you?
Wow. Yo estoy de acuerdo en todo lo que están diciendo y me gusta la idea de tomar como dijo Mindy, darle cierto tiempo a cada acción y y sí, yo creo que sería bueno llevar llevar todo esto. Pero también debemos tomar en cuenta que vamos a tener este plan como base, pero a veces vamos a tener que incluir puntos que vienen por parte de la ciudad, algunos trabajos que la ciudad nos va, no trabajos, pero sí ciertos puntos que vamos a tener que incluir por parte de la ciudad.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. Staying responsive to what's happening in the city, what the city council, city government is bringing to us to look at, and just staying responsive. And I think this is like a framework that we can hold loosely. And if there's things that are needed, then we can make sure that we're being responsive to what comes our way. So I could take all of this into account and go and make some adjustments and then bring it back next month for full approval. If that sounds good, I'm wondering if anybody would like to be somebody to riff over the next month, just so there's like more feedback than just me. So 2 questions in that.
And just to explain to Mindy and Jorge, since you're new, these meetings, monthly meetings, are where the commission speaks commission business and where the commission makes decisions, discusses work plan items, topics, etc. What happens in between commissions due to Colorado's sunshine laws is a little bit limited because there are strict definitions of what constitutes a meeting that needs to be publicly noticed and available for observation, like tonight. So frequently, commissioners will break out into groups of 2 subcommittees of no more than 2 commissioners, because that is the limit that we have in the state that can work together on an item and bring it back to the group at the next month's meeting. Any more than 2 commissioners then constitutes quorum, which means it's a meeting, and 3 commissioners together discussing commission business needs to be publicly noticed and observable. Jorge.
So that's interesting. So shall we assign like 2 commissioners to each of these points so they can work on each of them to create the action plan and the goals? So next meeting we really have clarity on that level of detail.
I mean, I think we could, if we feel like we need to have like all of this fleshed out. Or it's just like, yeah, I mean, I think that's a reasonable thing if people want to do that. There has to be some amount of mashing it all together.
Mhm.
And so one way is like if somebody wants to pick up each one of these, I can like work with an individual on each section. Or again, I think we all did a lot of feedback here. And so most of the clarity is like, I think most of what we discuss is here, and it's just like updating it in the doc. So yeah, I'm open to either route.
I'm happy to help, Aaron. Again, I'm going to plead novice here, and I just think I need your guidance as to what are the available opportunities that would allow us to build and achieve these goals. I mean, I am happy to help. I just I wouldn't be able to do it on my own.
And I mean, I think maybe that's great. I think maybe it's like me and you just like go back and forth and just like land something in, and we bring it next month. And if we all approve, then that's great. Otherwise, we get more feedback, and then we just like take it back for another run. I think that's simpler.
Okay. Great.
Does that sound good to all the other commissioners?
It does. I think I still want to, I know, unfortunately, this is one of the last meetings I'll be at, so I don't want to harp on this too much, but just continuing to think back towards process and how this document will be used, versus exclusively the content of the document. Like, will the commissioners revisit the document quarterly? Will you as chair, Aaron, be responsible for updating the document after each meeting? Like, what that looks like, I think will support the utility of the work plan,
Mhm.
versus just like fulfilling the requirement of having a work plan.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's good things to consider. I do think it's good to regularly do it. I'm hesitant to put too much structure too quick, but I'll think more about that. I think that's a great thing to consider.
Yeah, totally hear that. And otherwise, thank you again for putting this together, and thank you, Mindy, for volunteering to support.
And before we move on, just want to make sure, Jorge, you're not trying to say anything. Your hand is still up.
Sorry.
All good. Just an
Alright.
observation from the peanut gallery, as Elizabeth would say. But I think to Mindy's point, I don't think it's possible yet to know necessarily like all of the action items or activities that are going to happen throughout the course of the year, and also to Carlos, what Carlos said at the beginning of this discussion. There are going to be opportunities and events, happenings, goings on that present themselves throughout the year. The work plan can help you all determine as a commission if said activity or event will support your goals that you've set forth in the work plan. So just throwing that out as hopefully some helpful framing when you all are fine-tuning the document here.
Mhm. Perfect. So,
Entonces, acordamos en que vamos a analizar este documento y vamos a aprobarlo para la siguiente reunión. ¿Están todos de acuerdo?
yes.
Ok, perfecto. Entonces, pasamos a nuestro tercer punto, que es la carta al Consejo de la Ciudad.
Great. So, for this one, Jorge put together a really nice first draft, and then I brought some of the things that I'd been thinking about and put into a second draft. Unfortunately, we just didn't quite play email tag well enough, and so we haven't had as much back and forth. So mine hasn't been reviewed by Jorge yet. But we can take a look at what we have here. I'm wondering, should we just read aloud both what Jorge has and then my version? Does that seem like or anybody have thoughts about how they want to move through this section of the meeting?
If folks want to read aloud, that's fine. I'm also, Aaron, you could send that and I can get it out to everyone pretty quickly. Also, if you'd rather.
The one I have is in like the one you sent out to everybody. It is
Mhm.
there.
Oh,
Mine's
wonderful.
mine's just scrolled down, and it was I got it in there right as soon as you sent that thing, and so if somebody clicked on it, they might have already read mine. But
Gotcha.
I guess before we move on to reading, looking to do, are we looking to see if we want to send Jorge's letter or your letter, Aaron, or are we looking to do some live edits to combine them, or what's
Yeah.
kind of our goal
Yeah.
here?
I gave it a first shot, then Aaron jumped in, so I think it's just merging.
yeah, and I attempted to take what I heard
Yo
from Jorge
leí las,
and put it in mine. Sorry, Carlos.
No, no, está bien. Yo leí las dos partes y las dos me parecieron interesantes y no sé, me gustaría que pudiéramos de una forma eh, mezclarlo o incluir las dos o algunos puntos tomar de cada carta.
Yeah. So how about we read them aloud? Jorge, if you want to read yours,
Ujú.
otherwise I'm happy to just read.
Yep.
Mhm.
Dear members of the Boulder City Council, we're writing to you today as members of the HRC in response to your invitation to share the top issues on our minds. We thank you for the opportunity to weigh in before City Council's upcoming annual retreat. As the HRC continues to engage with the Boulder community in pursuing the improvement of social conditions, alleviate social problems, fostering positive relations among all segments of Boulder, and assisting the protection of human rights, continued flow of communication and interaction with the Mayor and City Council is of paramount importance to properly transmit the Commission advice and recommendations that accurately reflect the needs to achieve our goals and work plan. Having said that, we see two priority points to be considered in the City Council 2026 work plan.
Jorge, if I can
A,
just jump in real
yeah.
quick, we have a note from the interpreters. If you could read a little slower as they are trying to interpret what you're saying and you're reading off of the screen. Just a good reminder to all of us. Yes, they are doing fantastic work, and we get very excited, and it's difficult for them to do the work when we speak super fast. So clearly
Sorry.
and slowly, please. Thank you.
A, lack of engagement with City Council. Engagement with City Council has been minimal, a situation we find problematic considering that one of our top tasks is described as advising City Council or the City Manager. City Council has not proactively and constantly reached out to the HRC for the HRC perspective. Despite Boulder's experiencing a number of stark events that have deeply affected human relations in the city. On the occasions that the HRC has proactively reached out to City Council, there has been no response or feedback beyond acknowledgement of the receipt of communications. In the short term, we urge City Council to seek input from the HRC on relevant policy proposals early in the process, and to provide clear directives on how our time and resources should be allocated to align effectively with city goals. In the longer term, we urge City Council to assess whether the municipal code needs to be revamped to better define the relationship and expectations between City Council and boards and commissions. We propose frequent quarterly meetings to promote this communication and interaction, but mostly to ensure alignment in priorities and actions. B, lack of clear impact. We deeply appreciate the opportunity to serve our community through the HRC, yet there's a prevailing sentiment among us that we may not be making the impactful strides we had hoped for. While each of us has been very willing to volunteer our time and offer our perspectives, we are beginning to question whether our efforts are being utilized optimally for the betterment of the city in a tangible way. Our concerns stem from a perceived lack of clear goals and measurable outcomes. In conclusion, a more robust interaction and collaboration is needed to better use the HRC and council resources to tackle our Boulder community needs. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. I took from what we discussed in our last meeting, together with the previous letter that was sent 2 years ago. Because the first point was one that was highlighted in that letter. So I made like a combination of what we discussed on the previous letter.
Do people want to give feedback directly, or should we read this second and then discuss both together?
I think it'd be good to read the second and then discuss them.
Great. Dear members of the Boulder City Council, Thank you for the opportunity to share our priorities ahead of your 2026 retreat. Our focus. The Human Relation Commission sees our core purpose as fostering a more connected Boulder, a city where community members feel heard, supported, and able to participate, especially those most likely to be missed. We're focused on 3 areas: bridging vertical gaps. Many community members feel disconnected from city government. They don't know how to participate, aren't aware of resources available to them, or don't feel their voices can reach decision makers. We want to help close that distance, including by raising awareness of the human rights ordinance and the claims process it provides. Bridging horizontal gaps. Boulder is diverse, but our communities don't always connect well with one another. We're exploring initiatives like difficult dialogues to create spaces where people with different perspectives and from different backgrounds can better understand each other. Centering those who get missed. Whether it's unhoused neighbors, our Latinx community, or others who face barriers, we want to ensure our work prioritizes those most in need of support and connection. A request. We appreciated the recent opportunity to share our perspective with Council, and we welcome building on that with a more ongoing relationship. Rather than occasional check-ins, we see value in more active communication, being consulted early when policy discussions touch on human relations, and hearing from you about where our efforts might align with city priorities. We see ourselves as a potential bridge, not just advocates for community needs, but partners in helping Council stay connected to the experiences of Boulder residents who might otherwise go unheard. We look forward to continuing to build that partnership in the year ahead. So my goal with this was to kind of just like point towards what we care about and what we're doing, to kind of like let our priorities be City Council's priorities. The thinking behind this was like, by pointing out kind of where we're tending to, it like helps them see through our eyes, so then they kind of have that lens when they're making their own priorities, but then to like be very specific about like wanting this more active relationship, but to want to like doing it with like a nice gentle approach, like seeing that they're active in wanting to build that relationship and wanting to acknowledge their like efforts by like making time with us, but really wanting to emphasize that we want to like continue doing that. So that was kind of how I was thinking about this letter.
I appreciate both your letter, Jorge, and your letter, Aaron. I wonder, I don't know, especially Carlos, like if there's anything else we want to say about why a closer connection with City Council is important. Um, I've experienced and definitely understand that part of our role is to support City Council priorities, and if they're not giving us priorities, it's like, what are we doing? So I don't, that's one question I have, Aaron, on yours, just almost kind of where your cursor is, if there's anything else we want to add about, like in order to fulfill our, part of our mission to support City Council priorities, or yeah, just curious if there's anything else we want to say more specifically about what that connection could facilitate.
Right, because this is saying like we can helping Council stay connected to the experiences of Boulder. Yeah, and so it's like there's kind of like that's emphasizing one flow of the information, and we want to like make sure there's that. Like we also really want to hear from you of like what your priorities are and like how you can utilize our experiences and our connections to support those priorities.
Something like that sounds good. Carlos, I see you unmuted.
Ah, no, yo estoy de acuerdo con lo que dijo Emily, si podemos agregar eso que
Yeah.
cuáles son las expectativas que tiene el Consejo de la Ciudad hacia nosotros, qué es lo que ellos necesitan de nosotros y qué es lo que nosotros necesitamos de ellos.
something like that.
Ya, creo que sí.
Cool. Anything else?
Just that I think with communicating our priorities, I think there's I see benefit to that in that now City Council is required to review this letter, and so they're required to understand our priorities for the year, which is already facilitating more understanding that City Council has of our work than they did last year because they didn't receive a letter with our priorities. So
Mm,
I appreciate that you included those, Aaron, and I think that's a positive step forward of building more communication.
mhm.
And can you, Aaron, scroll back up to Jorge's letter? I'm just trying, I didn't see these letters ahead, so I just wanted to see what from Jorge's, like how we want to mesh them together, and what might be missing from yours that we might want to include.
Mhm.
I think one thing, oh, Jorge, you have your hand up. I don't want to speak before you.
Sorry. Um, I think, thanks, Aaron. I think mine is a bit more aggressive because I took it from the previous letter. And I think it's nice that you are now mixing our work plan proposal into the letter and say, okay, this is what we want to focus and get better alignment with you guys. Probably be more specific on what we or how we want to get that engagement with the council. You know, uh, last time we said, okay, we want to have quarterly meetings, or what specifically we want to do to build that communication and engagement with them. Because I think if we just say, well, we need more communication, and then we leave it, open, I don't know if they're going to come back to us and actually suggest. Maybe it's us suggesting them how to do it, uh, and be, very clear on our expectations.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that I'm like very sensitive to how much work our city council people do, and like how much, like, they're 9 people and they're working like 20, 30 hours a week, and like adding an expectation of them like meeting with our commission, which, like, if they're meeting with our commission and then like every commission wants to meet with them, and like for council to like have these quarterly meetings with every commission, I'm just like, I love the aspiration of it, and it like doesn't feel totally realistic, and which is kind of why I was like, I wanted, I like was thinking the invitation could be like a little softer and kind of like speaking on like, hey, you already did this great thing of like meeting with us, and I think that was really great. Um, but yeah, I could see value of like dropping in some specifics. I'd be curious to hear others' thoughts on that.
Jorge, my comment was going to be I felt like the major difference was the tone of the two letters as well. Um, from my perspective, I like a more balanced approach that's offering how we're aiming to reach out a hand and how we're aiming to serve our mission. I think especially later in the letter when you point out you and I know the former letter pointed this out too, talks about lack of impact. Um, Personally, I think given the reality of our lack of interaction with city council, we also have some more flexibility and freedom of what we've been taking on as a commission in the last few years. And so we can take I feel better about us taking some accountability for what we can do as a commission, even without interaction with city council. Because realistically, I guess I hope that they read this generously, and as an outstretched hand. And as Aaron said, I don't I don't know their capacity to really proactively engage with us. So I guess my preference, although I emotionally I understand Jorge where the letter you wrote comes from. I appreciate the gentler tone, because I think it takes into consideration more of the holistic picture of what city council has to navigate. And although I wish we had more interaction with them, I also can understand some of the reasons we don't have direction from them.
Do we know what was the reply or reaction to the previous letter? It was like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. I think only Carlos was around there. I'm not sure if you know anything, Carlos.
No, no reaction.
Yeah.
We are joined also
No,
by,
no tuvimos ninguna elección.
yeah, I was gonna say we're also joined by Elizabeth as well, who might recall, I think it may have just been a letter from city council outlining what they determined what their priorities to be for
hmm
that year.
Yeah, that's hi everyone. Good to see you. Um, yes, I think we talked about this a tiny bit at the retreat. But the city council sent a letter out to all of the boards and commissions just outlining what their the priorities that they had determined at their retreat. And so it was kind of a standard response that they provided to all boards and commissions at the time.
Yeah. And I think my understanding is like this letter is not so much like, hey, like come and do a bunch with us. I think it's like the city council is looking to all of its boards and commissions to help it understand what we should prioritize. And so us saying like, here's things we find valuable, like us looking at things, we think it's important to address these gaps. It's important to support our marginalized communities. It's like what we're doing is we're advocating for our worldview in council, and then council is kind of taking all of these letters into account and then using that to shape their priorities at their retreat. And so this is like advocating for the perspectives that we as the members of Human Relations Commission think that city council should be like tending to.
So, in that previous letter, it kind of complains that the council only acknowledges, what the HRC says, but that's it. We're looking to get that, just acknowledgement of what we're going to tell them, or we're looking to get a reaction to what we're proposing.
For me, what I care about is that we're moving towards a Boulder that actually is more connected and like tends to is inclusive and fosters more community and tends to our marginalized communities and those who get missed. Like that's to me what I care about. And so to me, this letter is less something that we get from city council, but more of just like how are we as a commission influencing? And so that's how I'm relating to it.
So is it more just an informative letter towards city council that we're not really expecting a response to? And I'm asking as a complete like ignorant in this process. Or like here's where we are. We want to keep you informed, and as our paths cross, let's help each other out, kind of thing. Like we're not expecting a real, actual, like written response or just right.
It seems like the response we get is that after this retreat ends, we hear what the city is prioritizing, and we get to hear like we can kind of listen for like, did the things we say land in there, and is the city prioritizing something differently because we spoke to that? That's kind of how I think that's the main response. Maybe there will be a personal response of like, and we directly took what you said here into account. But I think it's very much like they have 30 different boards and commissions who are all writing and expressing their priorities. And then they're doing this thing of like hearing what everybody cares about. Now we're figuring
Got it.
out what we 9 people care about and using that to direct city.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you for that
Yeah.
context.
So we're saying that once the council sets their own priorities, we will need to align to their priorities, because otherwise we may come up with any advice or any proposal, but if it's not in their priorities, it's just not going to fly.
I mean, I think we are seeking to like harmonize with their priorities. We're seeking to like
Mhm.
understand what they're doing, but it's like it's not so much that like what they say is like we just have to obey what they say. It's like the purpose of the Human Relations Commission is because we're listening to what they're doing, but then we're forming our own perspectives and like putting that in relationship. So they have more power, but part of our power is in influencing them.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask a question, make a lot of questions. I must maybe learning and trying to understand. Okay.
Great. Appreciate it.
So I would just say with that kind of context, I think that your letter, Aaron, makes for the most
Mhm.
part, it sits with me like it makes more sense. And I do think the tone is probably a little more of a cooperative kind of
Mhm.
relationship.
I,
So,
I agree.
that's my 2 cents.
Cool.
I think the essence of improving communication is there. Love the idea of including the work plan points, and yeah.
Cool. Any more thoughts, or do we feel good with approving this letter to send?
I'm okay.
Cool.
Yo estoy de acuerdo también.
Same, same.
Same, and just want to acknowledge Jorge again. Thank you for writing
Yeah.
the letter as well, and for doing the work of looking at the previous letter and all that context.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
It's a learning for me now. So thanks.
Yeah.
Entonces, vamos a hacer una moción y una votación por la carta de Aaron para que se mande al Consejo de la Ciudad.
Sí.
Ok.
Well, I think that's all good. I guess you take it from here, Christian.
Yep, as long as you all are voting, I think we need just a raise of
Oh.
hands or aye. As Carlos, if you want to just call that out formally.
Sí, entonces, pues ya vimos que todos levantamos la mano, entonces está aprobada la carta.
Okay.
Y gracias por el trabajo de Aaron y de Jorge, gracias por realizar esta gran labor. Entonces, continuamos con nuestro siguiente punto, que es el 6, discusiones informales, y no tenemos ninguna discusión informal. Entonces, vamos al punto 7, que son las actualizaciones del personal de la ciudad.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have up on my screen here, we are coming up on the end of 2025 already, which means we're moving into January. We have the following events that the Human Relations Fund is funding for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Some of the information here is incomplete as like the final details are still being worked out. I will send you all with my usual meeting follow-up links to the different organizations that are holding these events. But we have first celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. King's everlasting message. This event will include vignettes performed by local actors, music by local youth honoring jazz legend George Morrison, film excerpts, and speeches that bring Dr. Martin Luther King's message of justice, love, and nonviolence to life. Through storytelling, music, and reflection, both in person and online, the program will invite participants to connect Dr. King's legacy to today's challenge and to reflect on their own responsibility in building a more just and united community. And this event is brought to us by the Second Baptist Church of Boulder, but will be held on January 18th at the Jewish Community Center. Second up, we have the Modus Theater. Modus Theater presents in honor of Dr. MLK Jr. Day, Youth Behind and Beyond Bars, Stories from the Front Lines of the Juvenile Justice System with the guest, The Reminders. I know Emily is excited to hear that. And Dr. Ryland Rabaka. This event will include an autobiographical performance created with African American and Afro-Latinx adults formerly incarcerated as youth, featuring music by The Reminders and opening remarks by Dr. Ryland Rabaka. Through storytelling, poetry, and music, the event honors Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s fight against racial and economic injustice while highlighting inequities in the juvenile justice system and inspiring community support for equitable, restorative, youth-centered solutions. And that will take place on January 19th at the Gordon Gamm Theater of the Derry Arts Center. And last but not least, the Elail Hill Organization event, Community Action, Celebrate Diversity and Champion Equity. And this event will include educational presentations and a keynote honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, followed by film viewing, youth storytelling, and interactive discussions centered on justice, equality, and civil rights. Through song, dance, art, prayer, and community-led cultural experiences, including South Sudanese and East African food and crafts, the event creates a welcoming space for reflection, dialogue, and collective action toward a more inclusive and equitable Boulder. And this event will take place on January 24th at Congregation Har Hashem. And that is all I have for you all on upcoming events. If I have any more between now and Thursday, I will include those. Otherwise, I will send them out as I become aware in the new year.
Ok, gracias, Cristian. Entonces vamos al punto número 8, actualizaciones de los comisionados. ¿Alguien de ustedes tiene algo que comentar o que nos quiera? Emily.
I have just a couple things I'd like to share with you all. First, something that came across my LinkedIn feed today was that the Boulder Comprehensive Plan survey results came through. So I'm going to put those in the chat. And then Christian, if you wouldn't mind sending those out with the meeting minutes. It looks like there could be some valuable results. Results on housing choice and opportunity, multicultural, multi-generational community. Of course, Boulder Valley is bigger than just Boulder. The Boulder Valley plan is, I think, Boulder County wide, so it's not just Boulder, but still some food for thought. And then the second thing is that MLK performance that Modus is doing, which will be incredible, and it sells out every year. It's during our meeting time next month. So it starts at 7 p.m., I believe.
Which is actually a great thing that you're bringing it up, because that is the third Monday of January is MLK Day, which is a day that is the city offices are closed. So we will need to adjust our meeting time due to that, and so that you all, or those who choose, may go to the event. But we can do that after other commissioners share any updates if there are any.
Bueno, yo nada más les quiero comentar que tuve participación en 2 eventos este sábado pasado. Hicimos un convivio navideño para los niños, donde repartimos juguetes, estuvo Santa Claus y se dio comida gratis para los participantes, para la gente que asistió. Esto fue donde se va a construir el parque de Primos, aquí en la Violet y casi la 19. Ahí estuvimos el sábado por la mañana y por la tarde participé, bueno, con la tienda con la que trabajo, Lucky's, participó en el desfile navideño de las luces. Esos fueron los 2 eventos en los que estuve este fin de semana.
I have
¿Alguien
nothing on
tiene
my
algo
side.
más que decir?
No.
Perdón,
Ah,
Jorge.
no, decía de mi parte no,
No,
no tengo
there's
nada.
Ok, entonces, Cristian, vamos a lo que nos decías de ver el día de la reunión del mes que entra.
Sure thing. So we have decided as a group, had decided as a group to switch our meetings from third Tuesday to third Monday. That is going to conflict with MLK Day and President's Day in the immediate future, which the City of Boulder's offices are closed for both of them. So needing to reschedule those two meetings and wanting to just do that while we're all together, if that would be possible. We don't have anything in our handbook or anything that says hard and fast we need to meet on a Monday or a Tuesday, or a specific Monday or Tuesday. So we could theoretically do the second Monday or a different day on the third week of January. Just want to get an idea of what folks' calendars look like.
January 12th works for me.
Yeah, that works for me. I'm
That's better for me because I'm gone the end of the month.
Okay for me.
Do we like Mondays in general? Is that something we're all clear on though?
Christian, I had mentioned that I will have conflicts on Mondays, because that's when I have other board meetings are always on Mondays.
Mhm.
I can go through and they just set them for 2026 and just see if there are any conflicts. But that is a potential conflict for me.
Then it seems like we could just do January 12th if that works for everybody else, and then like figure out if there's conflicts going forward.
I was gonna offer Mindy the reason we met on Mondays was because of me. So my last meeting I believe will be in February. So um won't I won't advocate for Mondays after that.
Generally, I like Mondays, but I just don't know if I can juggle both. But January 12th is great for me. So we can at least check that one off.
Does that work for Carlos and Jorge? Great.
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Cool.
Sí, para mí está bien el 12.
And then maybe we like figure out what the ongoing thing is come like March once Emily's transitioned out and whoever the new person is transitioned in. Cool.
Yes. And I would be remiss actually if I can back up a scooch, Carlos. I left this out of the staff update, but I did send this to you all. As we are saying goodbye to Emily, who I believe it is either the February or March meeting. I think your term may go through the end of March, but I can clarify that and with you. The application round for boards and commissions, not only for the Human Relations Commission, for our open seat that we will have, but for other boards and commissions is now until January 25th, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So there will be an open house event on January 5th that Emily and Mindy have so graciously volunteered to attend with me. Thank you both. Doesn't mean they have to be the only ones who attend, but it will be from 4 to 7:30, I believe. I can get the exact times and send that as well in my email there. But
Puedes mandar la información, gracias.
yes, but we have a flyer that went out as well. Please share with your network so we can get a wonderful new applicant for our open seat. Thank you.
Ok, gracias, Cristian. Entonces, ya quedamos que nuestra próxima reunión va a ser en enero 12. Y nuestro siguiente punto son los puntos de seguimiento. Cristian.
The only point that I was tracking tonight, or I have tracked tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, is Aaron and Mindy are going to work on the work plan. We will review it at the January 12th. Finalizing the work plan, we'll review it at the January 12th meeting.
Perfect.
Did I miss anything? Cool.
Creo que estamos bien. Entonces, si no tenemos más por el momento, yo creo que nuestra reunión está finalizada. Entonces, siendo las 7:30 del día 15 de diciembre del 2025, ¿me pueden dar una moción para dar por finalizada la reunión?
Motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Second that.
Entonces, votamos. Gracias a todos. Entonces, nos vemos para enero. Que tengan una feliz Navidad y un bonito año nuevo. Gracias.
Feliz Navidad.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Carlos. Thanks,
Happy
everyone. Happy holidays.
So
Happy
that
New
is
Year,
also the
everyone.
first
Buenas
night of
noches.
Hanukkah. I want to say
Gracias, Mayra.
Happy
Gracias,
Hanukkah.
Rosabel.
Thank you, Mindy, for bringing that to our attention.
They just lit the Hanukkah candle over on Pearl Street, right over there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Mm.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Buenas
Night,
noches.
everyone.